She stood in my bedroom doorway, hair messy, eyes red from crying, drowning in one of my old flannel shirts. Her voice was small but clear when she asked, "Is there space left in your bed?" I was already sitting on the edge of the mattress, trying to give her room, trying to pretend my own heart was not beating out of my chest. "For you," I said, meeting her eyes, "there is always space." She let out a breath that shook, like her ribs had been locked all night. That moment did not start in my bedroom. It started 3 hours earlier, with a sound I knew too well. A scared knock that did not belong in the hallway of our old brick apartment building in Phoenix. It was August, the kind of heat that made the pavement shimmer. My AC was running steady. The game was on low in the background. I was sanding the edge of a maple coffee table in my living room, trying to hit a deadline for a client. Then I heard it, 3 short knocks on my door. Not angry, not casual, sharp, hesitant, like someone was afraid of both knocking and not knocking at the same time. I wiped sawdust off my hands and opened the door. It was Lily from 3A. She lived 1 floor below me, across the courtyard. We saw each other in the parking lot and by the mailboxes. Blonde hair always pulled into a loose bun, oversized canvas bag, paint on her fingers more often than not. She worked from home as a graphic designer. I knew that much. I also knew she had a new ex, who called too much and listened too little. Right now, she did not look like the girl who laughed at my old truck and called it vintage. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Her cheeks were wet. Her hands were shaking. There was a thin cut on her lip where she had bitten down too hard. "Ethan," she said, "can I come in for a minute?" "Yeah," I said at once, stepping back. "Of course. Come in." She rushed past me like she expected someone to grab her from behind. I locked the door. Deadbolt, chain, both. I did it slow so she could see my hands on the lock. She watched me, eyes on the metal sliding into place. Only when it clicked did her shoulders drop half an inch. "What happened?" I asked. She wrapped her arms around herself, like she was trying to hold all the pieces in. "He came by," she said softly, "her ex. I did not need a name." "Did he touch you?" I asked, already feeling heat rise in my chest that had nothing to do with the weather. "No," she said, shaking her head. "Not this time." He just pounded on my door and shouted. He kept saying the same thing, that I ruined his life, that nobody else will ever know me the way he does, that I belong with him. Same script, different night. She tried to smile and failed. "I called the non-emergency line," she added. "Again, they said they would make a note." Again. Her voice cracked on that last word. I had heard some of it from my window. I had heard a man's voice in the courtyard. I had heard the shuffle of feet, the scrape of tires when a car pulled away. I had not liked the sound of it, but I also knew you could not storm into a fight you did not understand. There was a line between being helpful and making things worse. Right now, that line felt thin as a string. "Did he get into your place?" I asked. She shook her head. "I did not open the door," she said, "but I can feel the walls when he hits it. I know the sound of his fist. My hand starts shaking before he even knocks. I can hear my own heartbeat. I can smell his cologne under the door. It feels like he is in the room even when he is not." She swallowed. "And after he leaves," she whispered, "I walk around and check every lock 12 times. I check the oven. I check the windows. Then I sit on my bed and stare at the door. I tell myself I am strong and independent, and I do not need anyone. But my body does not care. It acts like I am still in his house." She looked up at me with a small, helpless laugh. "I am so tired," she said. Something inside my chest twisted. I wanted to fix it the way I fixed loose hinges and crooked shelves. Tighten a screw, add a brace, measure twice, cut once. People did not work that way, but doors did. "Do you feel safe in your unit right now?" I asked. Her eyes filled again. "No," she said, one word that hurt to hear. "Okay," I said. Calm, slow, like I was talking myself through a cut on a board. You are staying here tonight. She stepped back. I do not want to be a problem, she said fast. You have work in the morning. And your space. And your life. I am just the girl from 3A who talks about coffee beans and asks to borrow a hammer. I can buy more hammers, I said. I cannot buy another you. Her eyes widened a little at that. She looked away. Lily, I said, you are not a problem. You are my neighbor. You knocked on my door. That is enough. She wiped her cheeks with the heel of her hand, then laughed once, weak but real. You really mean that? She whispered. Yes, I said. I showed her the deadbolt again. The chain. The fact that my window looked over the parking lot, not the street. The fact that my phone was on the counter, not buried in cushions. Sit, I said, pointing to the couch. I am making tea. You look more like a coffee guy, she said, voice a little lighter. I am, I said. But my sister forced me to keep chamomile in the cabinet for emergencies. She was right. Quote, I moved around the kitchen, filling the kettle, setting mugs on the counter. My hands were steady. The motions were simple. Water, heat, tea bag, honey. I saw her eyes follow me, like she was counting each step. We sat on the couch. She wrapped both hands around the mug like it was a small light in a dark room. Tell me what would make tonight feel safer, I said. She stared into the steam. In my head, she said slowly, the safest thing would be to leave town and never come back. Change my number, change my name, start over. She shrugged one shoulder. In reality, she went on, I have a lease, a job, clients who pay me on time. A therapist who knows the whole story. I have friends, but they all live across town. By the time I drove to any of them, I would have talked myself out of asking for help. So here I am. Her bare foot rubbed back and forth on the rug, grounding herself. I know I cannot sleep down there alone, she said. I know that much. Not after tonight. Not after he said he knows where my spare key is and smiled like he was telling a joke. Quote, her hand clenched around the mug. I can give you the couch, I said. I have extra blankets. I can sleep on the floor. It is not fancy, but it is safe, and you will hear me if anything happens. She shook her head slowly. That is not what my nervous system needs, she said with a sad little smile. I know how that sounds. Then tell me what it does need, I said. She set the mug down. Her fingers twisted in the hem of the flannel shirt she had thrown over her tank top. Her eyes met mine. There was fear there, but also something like trust. I need to not be alone, she said. Not tonight. She took a breath that shook. Is there space left in your bed? She asked. Because I do not think I can close my eyes unless I know there is somebody right there who will wake up if I say their name. Her face flushed. Her chin lifted like she dared me to judge her. Her gaze did not flick down my chest. It flicked toward the locked door, then back to my eyes, waiting. I could feel the line between us. Neighbor, friend, man, woman, trauma, care. I did not let my mind go anywhere it should not. I kept my voice level. For you, I said, standing, there is always space. I grabbed a clean t-shirt and sweatpants from my dresser and put them on the end of the bed for her. You get the wall side? I said. Top of the covers. I will stay on my side. I will not touch you unless you ask, or unless there is an emergency. You can change in the bathroom. Door open or closed, your choice. She nodded, eyes bright. Thank you, she whispered. 5 minutes later, she walked back into my room in my t-shirt and shorts, her hair pulled up, her makeup washed away. She looked younger. She also looked more like herself. She slid under the blanket on her side of the bed, back to the wall, facing me. I lay on top of the comforter, hands folded on my chest, staring at the ceiling fan. The space between us felt thick, not with sex, with trust, with fear, with something fragile that I did not want to break. Ethan, she said in the dark. Yeah, I answered. Are you really not scared of him? She asked. I thought about her ex in the parking lot, his voice, his car, his empty threats. I am not scared of him, I said. I am only scared of you thinking you have to go through this alone. Her breath hitched. For a while, we lay there listening to the hum of the AC and the faint traffic on the main road. At some point, my eyes closed. I woke up to the soft pressure of her hand on my forearm. Light, testing, half asleep, like she was checking if I was really there. I did not move it away. Then my phone lit up on the nightstand. The screen glowed in the dark with a notification from an unknown number. The message preview showed one line: "Tell Lily I know where she is." The glow from my phone lit the room in a cold blue streak. Next to me, Lily's breathing was slow but uneven, not deep sleep, the kind of half sleep that jumps at every sound. I turned my head and read the message on the screen. Unknown number. Tell Lily I know where she is. Every muscle in my body went tight. I did not swear out loud. I did not jerk or sit up fast. The last thing I wanted was to scare her more. I reached over, flipped the phone face down, and took one slow breath. "Ethan," she whispered in the dark. She was awake. Maybe she had felt me tense, or maybe she never really slept. "Yeah," I said quietly. "Was that him?" she asked. I could lie and buy us 10 minutes of fake peace, or I could treat her like she deserved the truth. "I think so," I said. "The text said he knows where you are." She pushed herself up on one elbow, eyes wide now, light from the street catching the fear. "How did he get your number?" she asked. My jaw clenched. "I gave it to him," I said, "weeks ago in the parking lot. I told him if he had something to say, he could say it to me instead of yelling at your door." Her shoulders sagged. "You were trying to protect me," she said. "I was trying to be a filter," I said. "Guess he liked the new target." I sat up and unlocked the phone. "Look." She read the text, then squeezed her eyes shut for a second. "He wants me to feel like there is no safe place," she said. "He did this when I moved out too. Calling from blocked numbers, showing up at my work, telling me it was cute that I thought I could start over." "Okay," I said. "Then we make it very expensive for him to keep playing this game." She looked at me, confused. "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means we stop treating this like something you have to survive." I said, "We treat it like something he has to answer for." I took a screenshot of the text, then saved the number as "Do Not Answer." I forwarded the screenshot to myself and my email so it could not disappear. Timestamp and all. "Who else has the full story?" I asked. "Your therapist? Anyone at work? Family?" "My sister in Denver," she said, "and my therapist. And my boss sort of knows. He knows I moved because of an ex, but not details." "Okay," I said. "Tomorrow, we call the non-emergency line again. We tell them he has your address, my number, and that you have a record of calls and texts. We ask what we need to start a report. If they drag their feet, we go higher. You should not fight alone with notes on your phone." Her throat worked as she swallowed. "You sound like you have done this before," she said. "Not this," I said, "but I have dealt with guys like him on job sites. Men who think rules are for other people. Only thing they listen to is cost, fines, records, losing access." She stared at the text again. "Can I give you something weird?" she asked. "Sure," I said. "I am scared," she said, "and somehow I feel less scared now that he sent you that. Is that twisted?" "No," I said. "Right now, this is not just in your head. It is written down. It is proof. Proof can be used." She let out a shaky breath and lay back down, turning to face me across the small gap. "Will you sleep at all?" she asked. "A little," I said. "Enough." Her hand found my forearm again. This time she did it while awake. Her fingers curled around the muscle lightly. "Okay," she said. "I will try again." It took a long time for her breathing to even out. I lay there in the dark, counting the seconds between each soft inhale, listening for any sound outside the window. No door slams, no footsteps in the hall, no car engine that lingered too long. At some point, the sky outside went from black to gray. Birds started up in the trees by the parking lot. My alarm never had to ring. I was already awake when it buzzed. Lily looked like she had slept maybe 3 hours. Her eyes were puffy, but her jaw was set. "Morning," she said, voice rough. "Morning," I said. "You want coffee or food first?" "Coffee," she said, then corrected herself. "Actually food. If I drink on an empty stomach, I will shake myself into orbit." I smiled. I have eggs and bread, I said. It will not be pretty, but it will count. At the small table, with the smell of toast and eggs filling the room, things almost felt normal. Her bare foot brushed the leg of my chair. She did not pull it back fast. It was just contact. Human. Real. After breakfast, she stood and stretched, then looked toward the door like it was a test. I need a shower, she said. I should go downstairs and change. The thought of her going back into that unit alone made something in my chest tighten. I will go with you, I said. We check the hall. I look at your door. Make sure nothing has been messed with. She nodded at once, like she had been hoping I would offer. We walked down the stairs together. The hallway was quiet. No dents on her door, no marks by the frame. The little rug outside her place was crooked, but that could have been anything. She unlocked the door. The inside smelled like her shampoo and the faint acrid trace of fear from last night. Text me in 10 minutes, I said. If you do not, I am knocking. Bossy, she said, giving me a small, tired smile. Accurate, I said. She closed the door. I stood in the hallway and listened. Water turned on. Drawers opened and shut. No raised voices. No footsteps that did not belong. 11 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Alive and showered, the text read. Your turn. I let out a breath I had not known I was holding. That afternoon, between jobs, I stopped by the hardware store. I bought a door security bar, a longer strike plate, and 3-inch screws. I picked up a cheap motion alarm too, the kind you stick on a door frame and curse at when it chirps. That evening, after she finished a client call, we went back to her unit. I am going to ask you something, I said as I knelt by her door frame. Okay, she said. Can I work on your door unlocks? I asked. Nothing that breaks the lease. Just stronger screws, better anchoring, and that bar. All removable. All legal. She blinked. Nobody has ever asked before, she said. Asked what? I said. Asked if they could change things, she answered. Gary just did stuff and told me it was for my own good. My dad did that too. I sat back on my heels. I will not touch anything in your space without your yes, I said. If you do not like what I put up, I will take it down. No lecture attached. She held my gaze for a long second, then nodded. Do it, she said. Please. I reinforced the strike plate with long screws that bit deep into the frame. I tightened the hinge screws. I showed her the difference by pushing on the door. See? I said. Before, if he kicked low near the lock, the small screws would rip out. Now they have to go through real wood. It buys time. Most people give up when things get hard. Not him, she said softly. Then we give you more time, I said. We set the security bar at night height. I stuck the motion alarm at the top, where it would beep when the door opened. I know it is ugly, I said. I like ugly if it keeps me alive, she said. We stood in the doorway for a moment, looking at the hall. What about you? She asked suddenly. He texted you. What if he shows up here instead? That is my problem, I said. She frowned. Wrong, she said. If he goes after you because of me, that is our problem. Something warm moved through my chest at that word. We are going to the station Monday, she said. Not the non-emergency line, the actual building. I want this on record. Good, I said. I will drive. That night, she knocked again around 9:30. She was in soft shorts and a big hoodie, hair damp from another shower. She held a small bag with a toothbrush and phone charger. Is the offer for space in your bed still on the table? She asked. For you, I said, stepping aside. There is always space. Quote. She smiled, small but real. Same rules, I said once we were in my room. You get the wall, top of the covers, no contact unless you ask. You can wake me up any time, no apology needed. She climbed in and pulled the blanket to her chin. Ethan, she said in the dark. Yeah, I said. If this becomes a thing, she said, like if I sleep here more often than I sleep in my own bed for a while, is that okay with you? I thought about my quiet life, my half-built projects, my empty evenings. The way her laugh made the room feel less tired. Yes, I said. I want you safe more than I want my routine. She was quiet for a moment. I will pay for half your coffee for the rest of your life, she said. That is a dangerous promise, I said. She laughed into the pillow. The sound was softer than her scared laugh, but it was there. We drifted off. It was almost 3 in the morning when the first loud bang hit her door downstairs. I woke up in one breath, heart slamming, before the bang came again. He was back. The third bang shook the ceiling. It came from directly under my bedroom, hard enough that the frame vibrated. A second later, the muffled shout followed, the sound pushing up through the floor. "Lily, open the door!" Her whole body jolted beside me. She sat straight up, eyes huge in the dark, hand clamping on my forearm. "That is him," she whispered. I was already moving. "Do not get up," I said. "Stay here." Another blow hit her door. The sound was ugly. Fist or foot, I could not tell, but it was full force. "Lily," he yelled again. "I know you are in there." She was shaking now. I could feel it through the mattress. "Ethan," she said, her voice thin. "He will not stop. He never stops." I grabbed my phone and crossed the room in 3 strides. I hit record on the camera and pointed it at the floor so it would catch the sound, the time, the shouting. Then I dialed 911. The dispatcher answered on the second ring. Calm. Practiced. 911. What is your emergency? "This is Ethan Cole," I said, keeping my voice level. "I live at Ridgeview Apartments, Building C, Unit 5C in Phoenix. My downstairs neighbor has an ex-boyfriend at her door. He is pounding and yelling her name. She has a history of harassment from him, and we have threatening texts from earlier tonight. We need officers." The dispatcher asked for details. Name, address, whether he had a weapon. I told her what I knew and what I did not. "He is downstairs at Unit 3A, I said. "We are upstairs in 5C. We are safe right now. Doors locked. We are not going down there." "Good," she said. "Stay where you are. Officers are on the way. Do not engage. If he tries to come up to your unit, call back immediately." Another bang shook the floor. Lily made a sound between a sob and a curse. "I am not opening," she whispered, like she was reminding herself. "You are not," I said. "You are here. He is hitting an empty door." I hung up and moved back to the bed. She grabbed my t-shirt with both hands this time and pulled me to sit beside her. "Are they coming?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "They are on the way." We sat there in the dark, listening to him rage below us. The bangs turned into kicks. The kicks turned into insults. Then that old, familiar manipulation voice came out. "Lily, come on," he called. "You are being dramatic. I just want to talk. You owe me that." Her fingers dug into my arm. "I do not owe him anything," she said through clenched teeth. "No," I said. "You do not." The noise felt like it went on forever. In reality, it was probably 5 minutes. Then, faint through the floor, a different sound. A car door. Another. Voices. The sharp crackle of a radio. The pounding stopped. We both exhaled at the same time. I wanted to see, but I did not want to leave her alone. "Can I go to the window?" I asked. "Living room. It looks toward the lot. I will not go outside." She took a breath, then nodded. Her hands released my arm slowly. "Okay," she said. "Just stay inside." "I will," I promised. I moved to the front room and pulled the blinds back an inch. Down in the parking lot, I saw the blue and red lights reflecting off windshields. 2 patrol cars. An officer talking to a man by the stairs. Even from up here, I knew it was him. The same walk I had seen in the courtyard. Same backward baseball cap. Same restless, aggressive posture. He was talking fast, throwing his hands around like he was the victim. The officers listened, faces blank. One of them made notes. Another shone a flashlight up toward the 3rd floor. I stepped back, out of sight. My phone buzzed. I answered. "Mr. Cole," the dispatcher said. "Officers are on scene. They may need to speak with your neighbor later. For now, please remain in your unit." "Got it," I said. 10 minutes later, the voices outside grew quieter. A car engine started. Then, another. The red and blue lights faded. When I went back to the bedroom, Lily was sitting up in bed with her knees pulled to her chest, chin resting on them. Her eyes were fixed on the open doorway like she expected him to appear there. "They are gone," I said. "The officers talked to him. I do not know what they said yet. But he left." Quote, "She swallowed. They always tell him to go cool off, she said. They tell him to be respectful. They tell me I can file a report if I want. Then it starts again. Quote, "Tomorrow," I said, sitting on the edge of the bed, "we make sure it is not just a note on a screen. We go in person. We make them look at all of it at once." Her shoulders dropped a fraction. "Will you come with me?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Try to sleep a little more. I will sit in the chair." "You do not have to," she said. "I know," I said. "I want to." I pulled the old armchair from the corner and put it near the bed. I sat with my back against the wall, feet stretched out, watching the door. At some point around 5, I dozed for an hour, waking every time the building creaked. By 9, we were sitting in a plastic lobby at the police station. The air smelled like coffee, printer ink and nerves. People came and went with forms in their hands. A TV played news with the sound off. Lily sat next to me in jeans and a plain gray t-shirt. Her hair was in a low ponytail, no makeup. She looked small in the hard chair, but her back was straight. We waited. When they called her name, I stood to go with her. The officer at the door glanced at me. "He is with me," Lily said quickly. "He has evidence on his phone." The officer nodded and led us to a small room. There was a table, 3 chairs, and a poster on the wall about domestic violence resources. A female officer introduced herself as Officer Ramirez. She had kind eyes and a tired face. "Tell me what is going on," she said. Lily told the story. Not just last night. The move. The change of locks. The calls. The text I had received. The banging on her door. The other times she had called non-emergency. I watched her hands. They shook at first. Then, steadied as she kept talking. She did not minimize, she did not laugh it off, she just laid the facts out like bricks. I handed over my phone. Officer Ramirez watched the video I had taken of the banging and the later conversation in the parking lot. She took photos of the text. "This is good," the officer said. "Not good that it happened. Good that you have it saved." "So what can I do?" Lily asked. "You can start a formal report," the officer said, sliding a form across the table. "It will document the harassment. You can also file for an order of protection. Based on what I see here, I think a judge will at least grant a temporary one." "Will it stop him?" Lily asked. "It will not change who he is," the officer said honestly. "But it gives us more power to act if he comes near you again. It moves this from annoying X to Y, violating a court order. Cal." Lily took the pen. Her hand hovered over the page. Then she started to write. Watching her sign her name on that form felt bigger than any signature I had ever watched on a contract. It was like she was choosing herself. When we walked out into the bright sun, she blinked hard. "I feel like I ran a marathon sitting down," she said. "You did," I said. "You did the hard part." She slipped her sunglasses on. We stood on the sidewalk for a second, the heat wrapping around us. "You know what scares me?" she said. "Not just him. The idea that you are in this now, that he could decide to go after you because you did not stay out of it." "He already did," I said. "He texted me. He hit your door under my feet. He came into my world when he scared you." She looked at me sharply. "You could still step back," she said. "You could say you helped enough. You could say this is messy. Nobody would blame you." "I would," I said. She frowned. "Why does this matter so much to you?" she asked. "I could dodge." I could make a joke. I did neither. "Because I like you," I said simply. "Because for months I have watched you carry groceries up 3 flights of stairs and still hold the door for other people. Because I have heard you laugh with kids in the courtyard and then walk back into your place alone. Because I could tell you were trying to stay small to take up less space in the world, and I hated it." Her lips parted. "Ethan," she said softly. "I am not helping you because I want something back," I added. "I am helping you because that is what you do when you care about someone. You put your body between them and the hit." She looked away for a moment. When she turned back, her eyes were wet. "I do not know what I can give you," she said. "When my nervous system is a mess and I jump at loud noises. When I might have to move if this goes bad. I do not know how to promise anything right now." "I am not asking for promises," I said. "I am asking to stay." That is it." She nodded once, like a knot inside her had loosened a notch. That night, she came up at 9 again, no bag this time. Just her and her phone and the way she leaned against my doorframe like it was the only thing holding her up. "I think my landlord is on his side," she said. "There is a note taped to my door about noise complaints. From last night, from me being scared." "Let me see," I said. We went down together. The note said she had violated quiet hours, that neighbors had reported domestic disputes from her unit. It gave a warning. "This is him trying to flip the story," I said. "Make you the problem. So he can push me out," she said, "so he never has to take responsibility." She laughed once, harsh. "I picked this place because it felt solid," she said. "Old brick. Good bones, stable. Now it feels like the walls can move under me anytime someone decides to." I looked at the peeling paint, the solid railings, the view to the parking lot where my old truck sat like a stubborn dog that refused to move. "What if stability is not the building?" I said. "What if it is the people in it?" Quote. She looked at me. "In my head," she said slowly, "the only place I felt safe last night was in your bed. Not because of the mattress or the lock, because you were there." She took a breath. "I do not want that to be a one-night emergency," she said. "I do not know what that means yet, but I know that when I picture sleeping tonight, I picture your ceiling fan." Something in my chest eased and ached at the same time. "Then we keep doing what works," I said, "one night at a time." She stepped closer, close enough that I could see the tiny scar by her eyebrow I had never noticed before. Her fingers touched my wrist, light, testing. "Is that really okay?" she asked. "Me taking up that much space in your life?" "For you," I said, holding her gaze, "there is always space." Quote. Her mouth curved into a small, surprised smile. She rose on her toes, just enough to press her forehead lightly against my chest. "Okay," she whispered. My hand came up to her back, steady, not demanding. Just there. Across the courtyard, a car door slammed. We both turned slightly, listening. This time, my first reaction was not fear. It was calculation. We had a case number. We had a report. We had each other. He could still make trouble. But now he was not the only one who knew where she was. The temporary order came in a plain envelope that did not match how big it felt. We stood in my kitchen, the AC humming, the smell of coffee in the air. Lily held the papers like they might bite. "What if this just makes him madder?" she asked. "He is already mad," I said. "The difference now is, if he comes near you, he is not just a jerk. He is breaking a court order." She traced the black print with her thumb. "It says he has to stay away from my job, my home, and from you," she said. "You are on here." "I gave them my name," I said. "I was the one who called. I sent the video." It made sense. Her eyes lifted to mine. "He did not ask to be on this paper," she said. "You chose it." "Yeah," I said. "I chose it." That night we fell into our new routine without talking about it. She knocked at 9. My bed saw 2 people again. Same positions, same rules, same space in the middle, where fear sat like another pillow. Only this time, when she reached for my arm in the dark, she did it with a small, soft sound, like relief instead of panic. A week went by. No banging on her door. No texts. No surprise cars in the lot. The quiet did not feel peaceful at first. It felt like waiting. I kept working my jobs. I hung cabinets, built shelves, sanded tabletops. Sawdust clung to my hair. My hands ached by the end of the day. Every evening I came home to find a new little proof of Lily in my space. One night it was a sketch taped to my fridge, my old truck, detailed and somehow kind. Another night it was a small plant on the windowsill. "Your place needs something alive that is not you," she said. She spent her days designing logos and layouts on my dining table because my unit was quieter. We sat in companionable silence, laptops open, saw on pause, music low. Sometimes we forgot to be scared. Then the landlord pushed. I came home from a job on a Tuesday to find Lily sitting on my couch, a folded letter in her hand. Her jaw was tight. "What happened?" I asked. She held up the paper. 30-day notice, she said. "They are not renewing my lease. No reason listed. Just, owner has chosen not to extend." Quote. I took the letter and read it. "It is legal," I said. "They can refuse to renew without cause. But after everything, it is a choice." "He wants me gone," she said, first through fear, now through paper. Her shoulders tensed. "I feel like my whole life is built on sand," she said. "Like every time I think I have a floor under me, someone pulls it up." I set the letter down on the table. "Then we find you a new floor," I said. "I cannot afford a bigger place alone," she said. "Not in a safer building, not with my student loans and everything else." Quote. "You will not be alone," I said. She looked at me like she was trying to read a blueprint behind my eyes. "Are you offering to move in with me?" she asked. I took a breath. "I am offering to move with you," I said, "to a place where he does not know the unit number, where the walls are ours, where the door is one we choose together. If you want that." She stared at me for a long moment. "What if I am a mess for a while?" she asked. "What if some nights I wake you up because I heard a car door? What if I cry when I smell his cologne on some stranger in the grocery aisle?" "Then that is what we deal with," I said. "One door slam, one smell, one night at a time. I do not need you to be easy. I just need you to be real." Her eyes filled, but she did not look away. "You really see this as a long haul?" she asked. "I did not put my name on that order as a hobby," I said. She laughed through a tear. "You talk about feelings like you talk about wood," she said. "Direct." No extra words. "Wood does not like lies," I said. "Neither do you." She looked down at her hands. When she looked back up, something in her had settled. "Okay," she said, "then we look. Together." We spent the next 2 weeks touring apartments. Some were too clean in a way that felt fake. Some smelled like cigarettes. One had the perfect light and a sink that leaked when I tapped it. Lily let me test locks and peer at breaker boxes. I let her stand in the middle of rooms with her eyes closed to see if she could breathe there. The one we chose was on the second floor of a small building in a quieter part of town. The door was solid. The windows faced trees instead of parking lots. The rent was a stretch, but with both our incomes, it worked. The day we signed the lease, the office smelled like fresh paint and copier ink. The manager handed us each a pen. I watched Lily write her name on the line that said tenant. Then she slid the paper to me. Under my name in smaller print, the form had a second blank. "County tenant," it said. I wrote my name slowly. ETHANCOLE. When we walked outside, Lily stood on the walkway and looked up at the new building. "My ex used to tell me I was lucky he took care of everything," she said. "He said I could not handle life alone." She looked at the paper in her hand. "I am not alone," she said. "But this time, nobody is taking this choice away from me. Not him, not even you." "Good," I said. "This does not mean we have to rush anything," she added. "We can take it slow. We can be whatever we are ready to be. But I want you there. In the space. In the life." My chest felt tight and full at the same time. "I want that too," I said. 3 weeks later, boxes filled my old place. My truck made more trips than it had in years. On the last night in my Phoenix apartment, before we turned in the keys, Lily stood in my bedroom doorway, looking at the empty bed frame I had built. "That first night," she said softly, "when I asked if there was space, I felt like I was asking to be forgiven for existing." "You were asking not to be alone," I said. "That is different." She walked across the room, stopped in front of me, and reached up with both hands. "This time," she said, "I am not asking out of panic. I am asking because I want you there." Her palms rested on my chest. I could feel the fast, steady beat of my own heart under her hands. "Is there still space in your bed?" she asked. "In your new one? In our new one?" For the first time she said, "our," without flinching. I smiled, slow and sure. "For you," I said, leaning in, "there is always space." She kissed me then, not a desperate kiss, not a please save me kiss, a clear, chosen one. Her fingers curled into my shirt. My hand found the back of her neck, gentle, guiding, not controlling. When we broke apart, our foreheads rested together. "We should go," she said, whispering. "We have a new place to set up." Our new apartment felt like possibility and paint fumes. The first night there, we set the bed frame up together. I bolted the corners while she held the headboard. We put the mattress down. We argued about which side the lamp should go on and laughed at how serious we sounded. When it was finally done, we stood at the foot of the bed and just looked at it. "No old fights soaked into the walls," she said. "No memories of doors slamming. Just fresh air." "And a lock we chose," I said. We brushed our teeth side by side in a small bathroom, bumping elbows, grinning like idiots in the mirror. In the dark, she climbed into the bed and slid to the wall side out of habit. I lay down next to her and felt the new weight of us in the mattress. "Ethan," she said. "Yeah," I answered. "I am happy," she said. The words sounded almost strange in her mouth, like she was trying them on. I reached for her hand. It met mine halfway without hesitation. "You earned it," I said. She moved closer until her head rested on my shoulder, her body fitting along mine like she had finally stopped trying to take up less space. I listened to her breathing slow, not from fear this time, but from peace. In the quiet, I thought about doors and locks and beds and the way people heal. I had not rescued her. She had not rescued me. We had just